Shout out to Coca 2005 for sending me the story. And I think that was you who left that comment in the comment section of one of my videos asking me, did I get a story from you that came from a certain website? And then I go onto my email and that certain website happened to be there with this story. So if that was you, I didn't know because your name was different in the comment section. But anyway, this story right here is coming out of Phoenix, Arizona, and it is dealing with another pig in blue. But it's not the usual story of them racially profiling somebody or fearing for their life or killing an unarmed black person. This one is a whole different can of worms right here. One that I have yet to speak on my channel. So in this picture, you see a man by the name of Paul Peterson. And by the way, I made a mistake. He's not a cop. He's an elected official, but he still has a position, or he, at this point, may lose that position after this stunt he pulled. So basically what this guy was doing was smuggling babies throughout the state. Basically what he was doing is that he was going over to the Marshall Islands. I've never heard of that before. And he would bring pregnant women over to the U.S. They would give birth. Then he would pay the women a certain amount of money for the child. And then he would take the child and set them up for adoption. So basically he was running a little baby hustling factory scheme, however you want to put it. So he'd go over there, recruit the women, bring them back here. They would give birth. He would pay them to give up the baby for adoption. Then he would give the baby to the adoption agency, and he would basically get a cut from that as well. That's the kind of scheme he was running there. And now apparently he has been caught and he has been suspended from his position. I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It is an Arizona elected official was suspended Monday after he was charged with running a human smuggling scheme that brought pregnant women from the Marshall Islands to the U.S. to give birth and then pay them to give up their child for adoption. Leaders in Arizona's most populous county suspended assessor Paul Peterson without pay for 120 days. He should have got fired. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors doesn't have the power to permanently remove him from his office, which determines the value of the properties for tax purposes in Phoenix and its suburbs. Peterson, who was in federal custody, has so far refused to resign since his arrest on October 8th. His lawyer, Kurt Altman, said Peterson will fight to keep the $77,000 a year job he was last elected to in 2016. Peterson, a Republican, has been indicted in federal court in Arkansas and also charged in Arizona and Utah with crimes that include human smuggling, sale of a child, fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Mind you, all of those charges he was hit with are all federal level crimes, hence why he's in a federal prison. And they say he refuses to resign, so he's being what's the word I'm looking for? He's being defiant. See, they said they don't have the power to fire him, but they will hope that he resign. And the thing is, he has the power to have himself resign. They can't force him to resign. Only he can do that, but they say he's refusing to do that. And because they can't fire him, he can still technically keep his job and get paid again after his 120 days are up. But he has a whole list of federal crimes which he was doing. He was basically doing human trafficking. He was basically doing, I guess you could say that he was doing human trafficking without the kidnapping part, because kidnapping would have to employ that he went over there and took these women's children after they had given birth and they didn't know. But these women knew. So that's why kidnapping wasn't one of the charges. But it was still considered human trafficking because it operated in the confines of what human trafficking is. The criminal case spans 3 years and involves some 75 adoptions, authorities said, with about 30 adoptions pending in 3 states. Peterson is accused of illegally paying women from the Marshall Islands to have their babies in the United States and give them up for adoption. The women were crammed into homes owned or rented by Peterson, sometimes with little to no prenatal care. Peterson charged families $25,000 to $40,000 per adoption. Peterson completed a mission in the Marshall Islands, a collection of atolls in islands in the Eastern Pacific for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He later worked in the islands in the U.S. on behalf of an international adoption agency before going to law school and becoming an adoption attorney. So he basically knew how to work this whole system. He went to this place and then he went to law school and became an adoption attorney. He literally it sounded like he had this whole thing planned out way in advance. It wasn't just something that he decided to wake up one day and on a whim decided to do this. The Board of Supervisors said Monday that Arizona law allows it to suspend Peterson for neglect of duty, citing his absence from the office during his incarceration and limited access to phone and email. An audit of Peterson's office also found files from his adoption business on his county computer, which can't be used for personal business. See, they found all this stuff right here that would be enough to get this man arrested and fired, but because of some stipulations, they can't do neither. The audit also showed several calls made from Peterson's desk phone or county-provided cell phone to Arkansas, Jamaica, and the Philippines over the past 6 years, and about 30 emails related to adoptions since Peterson became assessor in 2013. Board Chairman Bill Gates said the supervisor will look to appoint someone to fill Peterson's position during the suspension. They need to find someone to fill his position permanently. Peterson is allowed to request a hearing to defend himself. Peterson's attorney said the law allowing elected officials to be suspended may be unconstitutional. This has palm-colored privilege written all over it. So this guy can illegally he legally went over to this place, brought these women back here illegally. They gave birth, paid these, had these families pay him thousands on top of thousands of dollars for the child, give the child up to an adoption agency, most likely one that he was running, and it spanned over 3 states. They find out he gets hit with all these federal charges, ones that should have definitely warranted jail time per charge. They try to fire him, but they said that they can't. He has the choice to resign, and he's not going to, because he's not going to give up that $77,000 a year position that he legally gets paid. But it sounds to me like he probably made more money with his little side hustle than he did in the position that he's actually getting paid to do. He did all of that, and he'll still have his job after his suspension is up. Let that have been anybody who looked like us, and all of that would have got thrown out the window. They would have found a way to fire the person. They would have been arrested. They would have been charged. There would have been a trial, and they would have gone to jail because they would have been found guilty. Like I said, I told you this is a whole different story than what you're used to hearing from the usual. But does it surprise any of us? No. I wonder if any of these families were melanated families, because I saw it said Jamaica in there, so I can only assume that, yeah, it was. And I don't know where the Marshall Islands is. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and Google right here while I'm recording and find out where the Marshall Islands are. Give me a second. Okay, it says it's in the Central Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and the Philippines. They said that's where it's at. So it's more so to the west of us. Well, for me it is, because I'm in on the East Coast. But that's crazy. That is crazy. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.